everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and here once again I have a pile of games to speed through. Let's see how fast I can talk about 40 different games, and I'm going to be talking about them in alphabetical order, so here we go. Okay, let's talk about the Adventures of Robin Hood. This one took me a while to play. Everyone else here had played it in the studio, but I found it to be a lot of fun, a really neat way to play through a story. It very felt like an adventure game. I enjoyed it, 8 out of 10. And I also played the expansion, Adventures of Robin Hood, and now Friar Tuck is in the mix. And, well, it's more the same. Enjoyable, 8 out of 10. Another Christmas romance movie. This is terrible. I love the theming of this game, and basically making fun of Hallmark movies with love, but it's a terrible game, 4 out of 10. The Battle for Sampo. This is an adventure-style game, but wow, is it boring. I really wanted to like this game, but it's so slow in progression and stuff, and the rules aren't great. It's a 5 out of 10. Blind Business. This is a small little card game from DeVere that I really like the artwork for, but I don't love the gameplay. It felt too random for me, trying to outguess everybody else. A 5 out of 10. The Cube, Area 51. This one gets a 2, mostly because, you know what, I don't know. This has the worst rule book I think I've ever read. You literally cannot figure out the game from the rule book. I had to go online to figure it out. After that's a really boring placement game. But just such a terrible rule book. I cannot believe this game was published with a rule book that you cannot play the game from. It blows my mind. Expressions. This is an 8.5 for me. A logic deduction game. And at first you think, this is like The Crew. But it's not a trick-taking game. You're just trying to guess cooperatively the cards that are in other people's hands. I really love it. Fast Food Fury, a speed game about food. The pictures of food are nice. The game is, 6 out of 10. Flash 10, another speed game where you're trying to get all your cards in order. It's like playing Racco, but a speed version of it. From Wolfgang Kramer. I'm sure this is going to sell thousands and thousands of copies. But for me, it's getting a 5. Fork. I was kind of interested in this one. What does the fork stand for? Fox, owl, rabbit, kale, something like that. It's a trick-taking game, but it's a game in which you only score points if you match yourself. I thought the scoring for this kind of ruined the game for me. 5 out of 10. From the Moon, another game with a not great rule book, but the game itself is fun, even if they lie about the trillions of combinations, or definitely vastly exaggerate. But you have these little workers with these little moon buggies that you're placing on different spots on the planet to get actions, and there's a lot of enjoyable things, nice components, but you can tell definitely it's a Kickstarter production. But there's some cool stuff in it that I enjoy in 8 out of 10. Future Incorporated, this is a kind of an economic style game in which you're going to be playing cards or drafting cards and then using them to produce resources, and it's just like a little economic game that I'm not sure isn't a little bit broken. It's fun at first, and then as you play it, you realize it gets very, very samey, and the scoring's not interesting. 5 out of 10. Garden Guest. This is a remake of Loomis from Stephen Glenn, and it's a gorgeous game about connecting stuff across the board. A nice, fun, abstract-style game. Very vicious, though. 7 out of 10. Graffiti. This is from Queen Games, and it's just terrible. It's a 4 out of 10. This is about graffiti. It's the most boring worker placement game you can imagine, with not a lot of interesting things to do and not great components. It's like Queen is trying to make bad games. Humanity. Now this one I'm giving a 5 out of 10. And I know I'll get a lot of pushback on that because I know some people enjoy this game. And it looks like an engine builder, but it's a really slow drudgery of a game. As you place buildings out there and you're rotating them to use them, and it feels like a work instead of having fun in this game. So I didn't really like it a lot. 5 out of 10. Impera. This is basically Risk the card game without utilizing Risk the card game. So it's fine. It's interesting, but it's Risk the card game. 6 out of 10. Islet. Oh, wow. What a gorgeous game with these tiles, and you're moving birds and laying eggs, and yeah, it's just not interesting of a game. It looks nice. It's beautiful. But the game itself is meh, 5 out of 10. Then I have Kabula. This is a crazy, nonsensical game that knows it's being silly and crazy. And if they had only written a better rule book and put more effort into the actual fun of the game, I would like it more. I like the theming of it, and some parts of it are okay. I just wish it was a better game. 6 out of 10. Lab Notes. A roll and write based on Compounded And you know what? This is one of those times where I just found it to be utterly boring. I know that they almost tried to be too scientific as you make these modules and you're trying to molecules and trying to fill things in. 5 out of 10. Loco Momo. This is a tile placement game which feels a little bit like a roll and write. You take an animal, you move it to another spot, you get all the animals of the same color, you put them in there. Looks like a kid's game, maybe family game. More is a better description of it. It's okay. 6 out of 10. Lunar Rush. This is an interesting game that I'm initially giving a 7 to, but might go up more as time goes by. This idea of sending goods back and forth from the moon or back. It's a really tight game. With the resource and economy is really interesting. The idea of you want to take a fast ship and get a few goods up or take the slow ship and get more, I just find it to be really fascinating. Mind Up. This is a card placement game similar to like Slide 5 or 6 Nymph. But it's an interesting idea with some cards in the top row and bottom row. I enjoyed it a lot. 7.5. Mustache Master. Yeah, you flip cards and do actions. 5 out of 10. Nightmares of Sushi. This is where you're trying to play a card that no one else plays, and there's some really interesting ideas and some really weird pictures in it. And don't get the promo. But it's fine. I just wish there was more to it. A 6 out of 10. Poetry for Neanderthals. I finally played this. People have been begging me to play it. Basically, you're giving clues to other people using only words of one syllable. It's a silly, one-note concept, and that's usually where the best party games come from. 8 out of 10. REM Racers. A racing game where you're measuring stuff to move your cars around. A badly written rule book mixed with cards that slide around and stuff. Not great. It's like a miniatures game, but it's just terrible. I hate it. 3 out of 10. See, Gonga, this is a tile placement game from Korea where you're basically trying to match different gems together to score points. Some interesting ideas, and it's okay. 6 out of 10. Shadow Blades. This is a remake of Spynet from Richard Garfield. And there's so many cool things about this. You're trying to play ninjas in front of you to take control of different areas and then play cards to do that. The game just feels too short. It's just missing. It's like a little shorter than it should be. It doesn't feel big enough to do cool things. So it's just missing the mark for me at 6.5. Silvermine. This is an older game from Alex Randolph where you're rolling dice and moving around. It's just way too lucky for me. 5 out of 10. Sleeping Cats. This is a matching cat style game. It's okay. 6 out of 10. Stifling Dark, or the Stifling Dark here. Oh, man. I'm giving this one a 6.5 because, again, this one just misses the mark for me. I really like the style of this game. It's a one versus all where the one player is chasing the other players and you're in an amusement park or a logging mill and there's all kinds of cool things. The components straight up bring this one down. All the components look the same. There's decks of cards that are not very well differentiated. That mixed with the rule books, this game is hard to play and it should be easier. It should be a game that's easier for people to get into. Tangram City. This is from Uwe Rosenberg. It's about placing tangram tiles on the board. Boring scoring, boring looking, and some bad component choices. 5 out of 10. The plot thickens. There's actually 3 of these. I think it's romance, detective, and science fiction. We played this live here in the Dice Tower. It's okay. It's a story-driven game. You're just telling a story. There's no winner, no loser. If you like that, you're going to like these games. 6 out of 10. Tokyo Pooh Divers. It's pretty much just memory with really gross pictures. And you can see us playing it live, and we took out some of the grossest stuff. 5 out of 10. Totem Hoarder. This is a game that I just don't get at all. You're playing good cards on you, bad cards on the other person. It almost feels broken. Has cute art. That's the only thing going for it. 4 out of 10. Herbify. On one hand, I don't want to give this that high of a rating because it's very similar to Star Realms. It has some differentiations between it. It's just a nice, fun deck builder. I wonder if one aspect is higher than the other, one aspect is better than the others, but I think it comes together in a nice, really fun game. 8 out of 10. Weird Little Elf. Ask people weird little questions. 6 out of 10. Wonder Bowling. Mike has been going on and on about this game, and he's right. It is fun. You hit the side of a box and try to knock off all the pins but one. That's a great concept. 8 out of 10. Wordcraft. This is a game, and I'm giving this one a 7.5 for now, but I wonder if this one might go up at some point because I find it to be It's a good game about making words, but also trying to score the most points. My family and I really like this. They like words, I like games. It was a good combo. And then Words of a Feather. This is another word game where it has peacock feathers and you're just saying where it's not very good. It's like a party game, but a bad production kind of brings the whole thing down. 5 out of 10. And there we go. Let's see how much time. 10 minutes and 7 seconds. There you go, folks. That's it. 40 games. Some are good, some are bad. I'm probably wrong on many of them. Let me know in the comments. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. This has been 40 reviews in 10 minutes and 7 seconds.